السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشدد به أزري وأشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. So we have been studying the verse, a commentary on the verse, but the commentary on the verse was an excuse actually to teach us or present us an example how to read the prophetic stories narrated in the Quran. It's a very typical Nursi's reading of the stories of the prophets in the Quran. He makes two main prophetic narrations as examples to the readers so that they can expand this methodology of reading the stories of the Quran to other prophetic narrations in the Quran. Last we started actually 2 weeks ago. This is the third week. So we came up to the here with underlined sentence there in the middle of the first paragraph. I'll give you one. Even if the entirety of creation from there, we can start today because we have been really concentrating on the previous section. Did you find it? Is it? Yeah. Yeah. Let's read it and I can ask you some questions representing the questions of everybody actually, not only mine only. Yeah.
Even if the entirety of creation had become his servants and helpers, it would have been of no avail, for causes have no effect. Since Jonah saw with the eye of certainty that there was no refuge other than the causer of causes, and unfolded to him was the meaning of divine oneness within the light of divine unity. His supplication was able suddenly to subdue the night, the sea, and the whale.
Yeah. Now, the story seems to be simple, but the question I have here, why the whole entirety of creation comes to my aid, and they wouldn't really help me. They wouldn't save me from my position. But we said that my position is where the weather is very stormy, very cold, dark, and I am in the sea, not only in the sea, sunk in the tummy of a whale. It's a huge fish, but doesn't matter, I am in it. How can I save myself? Of course, we said this is not a physical thing for me. Maybe for Jonah it was it is not my concern. I am not Jonah. So for me, I am not in a dark area. We said the weather is not very stormy, really cold, but for the moment. But it doesn't have to be. It must represent these figures must represent something related to my reality right now, because I am reading the verse now, and it is me. But I'm trying to get guidance from the verse now. So it must represent some reality for my case. So first I have to understand that whatever I am in, because we have to go into the interpretation of these signs or, I don't know, this situation described in the Quran of the Prophet Jonah. But it is symbolically teaching for me. There is no benefit in talking whether Jonah was really fallen into the sea. Did it really happen? None of my business, you know. I don't have to come to a conclusion and decision about it. Because I am reading the Quran, I keep repeating this in our discussions, and the Quran is the speech of my Creator, gives me this example. Rather than going and investigating the reality of this example, this event, in its historical context, which is impossible, but my Creator is telling me a thing happened in the history. Yeah, I'm not denying, but I have no reason to deny. I have no benefit in denying it. And I'm not, I don't get any benefit in confirming it. But I say, yeah, there was a person who's called Jonah, really physically happened, yeah, and he fell in the sea. Okay, I confirm that. So what? What is it to do with you? If someone says, no, I don't know, none of my business, it might not have happened in the past, what are you going to do with it? The story is told to you right now in order to guide you right now. Mind your business. Mind your business. I'm seeing a hand is risen here. So carry on.
I mean, I understand that you won't get any benefit, or, I mean, you can't even prove if this person existed and if this actually happened. But what if you can disprove that something like this can actually happen? Like, can a person survive in the belly of a whale in the sea? And say you were able to prove that that's impossible,
yeah,
physically impossible.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that make this verse
irrelevant to you?
No, not irrelevant. It would be a lie.
No, it is a teaching for you right now, because it is definitely regardless of the reality of the event. That's the mindset. This people who call themselves believers, that they keep arguing about the reality of the event. That's why we take it so seriously. None of my business. Somebody came to me and told me that, oh yeah, are you going to drive back home after this discussion? I said, yeah, that's what I'm intending. Yeah, that's my car is outside. You know, be careful. What happened? Something, and narrated an event to me. Narrated an event just to teach me that I have to take some precautions before I go and drive, to teach me something related to my case, which is going to take place in a moment or in 1 hour later, because I'm going to drive. He's giving me the advice. If I don't take the lesson from this narration of the event that the man is narrating to me, and concentrate on the reality of the event that he is talking about, I will say, it is nothing to do with me. This happened to this man. But no, I am telling you for your case. That's why I'm narrating it.
Right, but in this case, if we're saying that this is the speech of God, then it needs to be true on all levels, not just on one level versus
none of my business.
It needs to be the ultimate truth. It needs to be, the story itself should be true on every single level, not just on one level versus the other. So whether it be a lesson for me, and it's an example for me to learn from, that's one truth. Another truth is that it physically happened.
No, it is not irrelevant. It might have not happened.
I'm not saying it's relevant to me. I'm just saying that someone else reading the text
Mhm.
can come and say, and it could be something that would push them away from the faith, because then they would say, this is nonsense. This makes no sense. This can't really happen.
Well, it didn't.
Except for
It can't happen.
cartoons.
Yes, of course, because if someone says it can't really happen, it doesn't necessarily make me believe that it really happened or not, because God is my creator. Let's not use the word God even. So my creator is speaking to me for my sake. So he may present a case to me which is directly related to my case. That's why my situation. That's why he's speaking to me. So I have to listen to this story told me, at least, no, God is trying to tell me something related to me. I have to concentrate on my case. Maybe this narration not necessarily might have happened. None of my business, because God speaks to my creator, speaks to me for my sake. He is not an history narrator.
Okay, but what if I typically am a scientific person, right? I use logic. That's me. That's my personality. So it needs to also speak to me, right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. As a base of men of science, you cannot really concentrate on the matter. Don't you ever, or have you ever not read anything symbolically told to you, figuratively told to you, that related to your case? Because it doesn't have to happen physically, because God doesn't say that, look, I'm going to tell you a story, it really happened. Yeah? But he speaks to me. This has nothing to do with the reality of the event. There is no need to think about the reality of the event. No need for the purpose of benefiting from the teaching to me right now. Is it irrelevant to go back? For example, we mentioned this last.
I just want to clarify something. I'm not going back. I'm thinking about now, and I think it is relevant because I'll explain why I think it's relevant. You're trying to touch a part of me in the story, right? Mm-hmm. By saying that you could be lost in a stormy sea, mm-hmm. in the depths of the depths, no light, mm-hmm. darkness all around you. And it's trying to strike a chord with me. It's trying to make me feel something, right? So it needs to be. I need to be able to feel it. I need to be able to relate.
Yeah, relate it. Right?
And so there is no. I don't think there is any limit to how much I should be able to relate to it.
But the stories told in the Quran cannot be taken exactly physically happened or not. For example, many stories told about the story of Adam. And he said it happened, the narrator said it happened in paradise. And of course, the paradise is in my mind, in my understanding. What do I understand from paradise? If I learned from my previous generations, ancestors, that paradise is somewhere out there, exists, and we will be transferred from here to there. But the Quran itself says, it is going to be a new type of creation for you. And you don't know when this creation is going to take place, or it has taken place or not. Paradise, they say, exists. Paradise, they say, no, it doesn't exist now. No. In your understanding, you experience paradise right now, or I experience hell right now. Because it is the purpose of the speech of God. Do I have to go and look for paradise where it is and see Adam is there and God is speaking to him and the angels are in rows around him, prostrating. One of them says, no, definitely it is figurative. But does it have any reality? Yes, as far as my conditions are concerned, they are directly related to me, and it is real to me, because I am Adam, and what I understand from paradise is I am in paradise, in my true primordial nature. But there is a side in me rebels that don't submit yourself to the order or order of the Creator. Don't submit yourself. One side says, I look at the creation around me, the one that put this universe into order, everything submits to me. Why should I not join this submission altogether and listen to my side which says don't submit yourself to the creator of this order, the universe, yourself, including yourself. So this is my lesson. It is nothing to do with the reality of the event happened or not. There is no need to think about it, to talk about it, to relate to it. So coming back to this example that the people said, the person gave me the news that, you know, something happened, the traffic such and that, whatever, you know, conditions of the roads, because of the severe winter conditions. Yeah, please make sure you have this, you have this, you have this. Otherwise, you know, something happened. I've seen it. Do I leave everything and go back and investigate whether this event happened or not? It is irrelevant. The man is not really telling me that I have to go and relate my case to the reality out there. He is guiding me what to do in my future life. So I have to concentrate on it. Reading the word of my Creator with any concern, coming back. We said last week, going back to the event itself, we said last week, look, if a person is fallen into sea and swallowed by a fish, no way to survive. Huh? So he must be dead. What is the point in narrating this story, saying that no, he survived at the end? Putting the banner of it was a miracle. Okay. But it's not related to me. You can say miracle, well, all right. But again, miracle means something happened at the will of the Creator in an extraordinary, it means unusual way. But I'm not here experiencing any extraordinary, unusual conditions in my life. But the narrator is speaking to me and giving me this example and saying it is related to you. So I have to take lesson from it and relate it to my case. So going back to the miraculous event and complaining, well, not complaining, disputing about this miracle, the possibility of this miracle might have taken place or not. What are you going to do? It is not the aim of the speaker. It is not the purpose of the speaker, cannot be. So irrelevant interest. So why are we talking, well, not only you, of course, this is a good point, everybody asks this. All the books are full of these narrations. Most of the scholars, full of these narrations. I'm really, frankly telling, I am fed up with reading all these narrations. Really, I think still again this man talks about this. This man still talks about, isn't it? Again refers to the same source, and getting legitimacy of the discussion from the authority of the source they refer to. Be careful about this. You know why? That is what I read from great scholar, somebody in the past. Yeah? If you don't agree with me, you are opposing that great scholar in the past. Huh? Who are you? Who are you? You start feeling scared. How can I challenge this scholar in the past? But it may be none of my business. I have to relate it to me. This man said this or not. I don't know. Even, but be careful here. It is referred to the telling of the prophet. It means narration from the prophet. Say the prophet told us this. Of course, prophet speaks to human beings like you and me. So he gives the example in an analogical context so that you and me may understand. So it is, again, I would say, yeah, the prophet is teaching me this, and it doesn't, again, make the case necessary that it really physically happened in the past or didn't happen. I don't know, none of my business. This is not the point in the purpose of the speech of God. As far as I'm concerned, I have to listen to my Creator. So the prophet described many things, almost everything, in a metaphorical way, because he was speaking to human beings like you and me. We only grasp the reality when it is told to us in the form of metaphors. Because reality, the pure reality, which is called in the Quran al-haqq, is ghaibi, not a physical entity. Quran never, my God, my Creator, never tells me about the physical entity of anything. Why? It contradicts the purpose of speech. Because if something physically happens, then tells me exactly, because of the physical side of the glasses, I can go and touch it. He doesn't have to tell me that there are glasses in this room, on the table. Why I am letting you know this? I said, why do you tell me? But you need a glass. So go and get it from there. If it is within the physical world, he has already, my Creator, has already given me the ability to go and see it, find it, investigate it, find it, because laws of creation, principles of creation, or the order within which the creation is taking place is observable by human qualities without the guidance from the Creator. Do you understand? Extra verbal explanation. But where I need divine guidance, it was my Creator's guidance, where I cannot find myself, which is called in the description or in the language of the Quran as ghaib. Means the meaning the physical creation carries to me, and I have to listen to the speaker, God, as referring to the meaning, what the creation is really conveying to me. The meaning means, for example, the universe is being in this form. What do you get from it? It has an order. And what does it mean for me? There is a Creator, conscious being. Where is it? Ghaibi. That is your conclusion. Be careful. That is your conclusion. And the Creator speaks to you in order to give you a guidance about what you cannot find yourself. You don't know. So this is not the guidance. For example, telling me where, let's say, where Washington is in its location, really. Geographical location. How to get to Washington. My Creator, I cannot listen to my Creator as telling me exactly only how to get to Washington. I would say, are you a traffic guard or what? Or a topographers, or how do you say, people who studied topography?
Topographers.
Yeah. Those people who are studying can give me this information. Please don't bother. You have already endowed me with this ability. I can find them. But I want to go to Washington for what? Just spend my time, my life, huh? Why I am giving life? Why am I giving life? I don't know. Here I found my life freely given to me. My Creator guides me there. So you cannot read His speech and concern yourself with the physical side of the matter. You can't. Because it contradicts the definition of the speech. So, what are we going to do? We can only, even if you are a scientist, or you are going to investigate archaeologist, or not, what are you going to do with finding the place and Jonah's skeleton? What are you going to do with that? And finding out the historical facts about it. It's not the point in the speech of the Creator. It is not. But the speech is not for this. It says, I'm going to teach you what you don't know. It means, within my guidance, you cannot know that. But some people say, even it reminded me lots of things from history. So even some scholars, they call Muslim philosophers, say that, look, we can discover by studying, but the Prophet was given this information for ordinary people, laymen, because they cannot really think and find out the truth. That's what they were. That was their conclusion. Why? And even some of them said also, because those people who love Muslim philosophers, they don't want to tell this. They don't want to reveal this. Because this is not commonly known. And even some of them said, philosophers have higher qualities than the prophets. That was their conclusion. Why? Because they used their intelligence to find the truth, whereas prophets got the truth from God easily. That's a shortcut. Yeah, it is only for those people who cannot really use their reason, because they thought that the prophetic message is within the capacity of human reasoning. Yeah? They compared human reasoning with revelation. So this is maybe known to some people who study in this field. And what is the Quran saying? In order to understand what I am telling you, you have to use your reasoning, but your reasoning power alone, you cannot penetrate into what I am going to tell. Look, Being the explanations or guidance, being reasonable, does not mean that they can be found rationally. That's why philosophers, which we are going to study, but the subject was very important. The philosophers said causal chain is real factors. The same people. Why? Because they never thought what this causal chain, it was cause and effect, the order itself in its entirety. They never thought that this causal chain is only a means referring to something else than themselves. For example, there is an order. Okay, I follow the order, it happens as I learn it. What does it mean? Okay, it is a very simple example. You put a brownie in the oven for a certain time through your experience, as Sam's experience is proved to be the perfect one, the best one. So, you made a lot of trials and then you learned it. Huh? Okay, you learned it and you made the brownie. Is it the purpose of your life? Making brownie. Do you think as a human being, you live in this world to make brownie? That's why you are made, or that's why you exist as a human being. Your human qualities have nothing to do with brownie, only your stomach. Physical or biological, physiological side of you needs the brownie. When you eat the brownie, you enjoy it. What does it mean? What does it mean? That is what God talks about to me. Not how to make brownie. Not at all. Experience of the brownie or making the brownie, what do they mean? Do you remember we concentrated on that? Look, we are immersed with meaning in this world and we don't notice that we are in meaning. We think that we are in the physical world. Right? For example, like, can you imagine a small, let's say, a small ant, or what is this animal called? Insect, nut. Nug or nut.
Yeah. The ones that fly?
Yeah, small, very small. N-A?
G-N-A-T.
Hi.
The one that flies?
Nut, yeah. In the book, it travels in the book, right? In a book, travels there. Physical book, yeah? Physical book, travels in it. But I say I am in a book, immersed in a book. Okay, does he get the meaning? But let's say this is a conscious being. If it doesn't get the meaning, this nag is nag? Nat. Okay, thank you. I have to learn the word. Nat. G-N-A-T. I see, thank you. This nut, okay? We say you are an intelligent being, rather than saying that I am in the book. If you don't get the meaning, you are not in the book. You are in the paper collections. It's not the book. What makes the book? The meaning it carries. It's the reality that it brings meaning, refers meaning, or conveys meaning to you. So we are in meaning, but we think we are in a physical world. If this physical world Be careful here. If this physical world has no meaning, then my humanity, my humanity is not in the universe. Lost its being, my humanity. My physical world, my physical body is in the universe. My humanity looks for meaning. If I don't get meaning from this creation, I'm not living in this universe as a human being. I am living in this universe as a physical being, a matter. A matter. That's why materialist people reduce human beings, human understanding, human emotions, human feelings, human questionings, human consciousness to physical being. Because if I am more than my physical being and my extra being than physical being, whatever I am, needs something more than the physical entity of the universe. What is it? Of course, the materialist scientists, by definition, don't accept anything extra to physical being. So, consequently, they had to reduce human beings to biological beings. That is inevitable. Otherwise, they would contradict their own theory of materialism. It means matter exists and nothing else. Yes, matter exists, but my humanity, not my body, my human questioning and consciousness is concerned with something beyond matter. What does it mean? Like the gnat in the book, if it was a conscious being, what it was expected to do to read the meaning of the sentences so that he will understand that it is living in a book, right? Otherwise, we cannot say that it is living in a book. It was living among the piles of paper. So, come back to the subject. My Creator speaks to me in order to guide my humanity. My humanity always look for meaning, for the meaning of anything. Whatever it is Jonah, it is Adam, it is paradise, whatever the words or the names are mentioned, because it is not the point. That's what the Quran doesn't give any detail. Who was Jonah? And where did he live? Which fish was it? It's a big fish. That's it. Hood. That's it. That's it. Because it's not the point. I am speaking to your humanity. I am speaking to your human concerns to guide. And listen to me as a human being, not a physical being. And don't be concerned with the physical event, because it's irrelevant. It's out of our subject. If you want to learn exactly what happened, go and ask the archaeologists. They are trying to find out something as much as they can. They will let you know. And even if they don't find right now, 10 years later, 10 centuries later, they might find out something. What's the point? Because my humanity is not concerned with that. Of course, what we do, we investigate the order in the universe in any sense. Maybe as an archaeologist, as a physicist, as a chemist, as a biologist, whatever. We investigate it in order to get the meaning and relate to my humanity. If a scientist doesn't concern himself or herself with the meaning of what they are studying, they are not human beings. They are just animate beings. They are not using their humanity. They are not looking for meaning. They are not questioning the meaning. So we cannot listen to the Quran in order to physical entity of anything mentioned there. When the Quran says, I am the creator of the heavens and the earth, for example, God said. So what is it telling me? When you are in the earth and on the earth or concerned with the heavens, look for the creator. Look for the existence of that physical entity. Look for the meaning. That's why the Muslim philosophers who said that the scholars, philosophers, have higher quality than the prophets because they try to get the truth as a result of their own strive. The prophets get it ready. That's what their claim was. So you may not hear it because those people who study the Muslim philosophers don't want to make their main argument so much clear that people say, oh, these people are really stupid. So they will be really undermining their own profession. That's why you don't hear that. But ultimately, philosopher means this. So they had to accept the causal chain as a real entity. That's why they said, historically, physical entity of the particles is eternal. Why? And also they influenced some other people who are not really philosophers, but they are called some Muslim theologians, prescribe to this idea. What is it like? Generally speaking, who are they? You and me. You and me. We ascribe to the causes and give power to them in our real life. You may think that, no, I believe in God. Yeah, you believe in God. That's correct. It's just verbal, a verbal declaration. But you say, without this, no, I can't be happy. The Quran says very simple. Without me, the Creator says, without me, you cannot be happy. You say, no, without for example, getting married or having this job, having this money or this status, whatever, without having this, I cannot be happy. Quran says, without finding your Creator, you cannot be happy. Impossible. Because Quran speaks to your humanity. You are concerned with your physical need. That's the contradiction. And when we listen to the Quran, definitely we have to listen to it with our humanity, human qualities, and analyze it within human quality, within the context of or the field of human qualities, not physical qualities. That's why all these arguments about the reality, physical reality of the events told in the Quran is, it is a big claim. It's a big claim, I know. It's a very challenging claim, I know, is against the very definition of the Quran. Not only waste of time, but a reduction to the nature of the Quran. What happened now? 90% of the books went into dumpster. Watch out. Irrelevant to you. Who was Jonah's father? Was it in the Mediterranean Sea? Huh? No, ocean. Because in Mediterranean Sea there is no whales. No, there can be maybe previously. This is irrelevant argument. Goes against the definition of the Quran. Oh, it releases you, if you are careful, from the burden of learning lots of trash. Yeah. I carry that lot of this trash. I know how heavy they are and irrelevant to you. Knowing this brings you no benefit, no guidance, no relax, no satisfaction for your humanity. You learned that, yeah, it was in Egypt. It was in the Red Sea. It was, yeah. Jonah was swallowed by a fish in the Red Sea. But there is no big fish there. No, you know, in olden days, there used to be. So what? So what? Now the Quran is telling the truth. It is nothing but waste of time if it is not stupidity. Waste of time. Reading the speech of God for non-contextual area. It's not within the context of the Quran. The speech of God. Waste of time. So, sir, waste of time. Talking about it, concerning it, looking for it, whether it is true or not. No, it's not the point. It's not the point. Whether it was a miracle or not, none of my business. I am concerned with me right now. Anyway, my understanding of miracle is very existence of my own being is a miracle. I am as a human being. This is a miraculous event itself. My human qualities cannot be explained in physical terms. Even my body, you cannot explain the shape of my physical body, shape of my body in physical terms. Who can decide that my nose will be in this shape and this is cell structure? How is it called? Dermatology or what? So it will be covered by a skin, and then underneath there will be another tissue, other kind of tissue functioning in another way, and the tissue of the heart is completely different from the tissue of your veins. They are all miracles because there is no physical necessity which will make them in this way as they are. Even my physical body is a miracle. Comfortable. So why should I look for another miracle in a field where I cannot physically experience and irrelevant? Even you do. Even you can go and investigate. So what? They tell, of course I read and I see, I hear. They say if you see where the people of Lot was destroyed, you will be satisfied And the people say, that was a natural event, catastrophe. You say, oh, no, it's a miracle. Because they are looking for miracle in a wrong place. Because their definition of miracle is ridiculous. So, still in the sense that we talk about miracles, and that happened in the past, talking about miracles that happened in the past, is not related to the content of the Quran. We have to have a comfortable heart about this and read the Quran directly to your own case. Even when the Quran says we will continue studying this because it is so extremely important that you will go to paradise, you will go to hell, you will be treated in this way, you will suffer in the grave like this, etc. We will say yes, related to my real life right now. Right now. Yeah? If I cannot relate it to my real life right now and refer it to a life in the grave after I die, it is not related to my reality right now. What shall I do with it? What shall I do with it? So if someone says, what are you doing? Are you a student in a college? Yeah. Abdul? Yes. Yeah, you are. Yeah. If you don't get the degree, what will happen? A wise man, an experienced man, expert, is speaking on it, right? You know, or if you don't have the degree, or if you don't have this GPA level, so what will happen? You cannot get this, you cannot go there, you cannot really advance in your profession. Lots of things are telling to you, right? What will happen to you in the future? Why do you think this man is speaking to you? In order to? Sorry? Right now. It means don't slack yourself, keep yourself busy, yeah, with idle talks with your friends, etc. And don't keep yourself with, I must do this, I must do that, and then I will study, and then I will study. Procrastinate, yeah. Don't do that. Right now, sit and study your assignments and do your paper, for example. Read. Do your reading. Right now. If you keep yourself busy after I graduate, if I have this degree, what will happen to me? And, I will get, let's say in the positive say now, I will get a higher GPA and then go into where? I think you were interested in pharmaceutical studies. Am I wrong? PA, yeah. Physician assistant. Okay, so I will get this money, this amount of money. Look, you are speaking 4 years later, yeah? Thinking 4 years later. And what can I do? I can buy a house from New Jersey with a nice garden, and I can get married with the most beautiful girl. And then the person will tell you what? The person is telling you what will happen about the future. This man is not going to be successful. Hopeless. It is not worth speaking to him. Do you understand the drama? Do you understand the drama? You say, I'm really physically thinking about my future. Leave this aside. Living in an imaginary world. Why I'm telling you this? Just sit and read your assignment. Again, do you think that my Creator speaks to me is less wise than this man? Why do you keep yourself concerned with the future? Why? He is telling you right now exactly what you are expected to do right now. It's a big problem. It's a big problem that the so-called some, not all, of course, people, scholars, kept themselves busy arguing about the nature of paradise, nature of hell, nature of the pain or torture in grave. Why are you talking about this? The nature of the physical thing, what will happen now? Angels will come to you, run frightening pictures. So, what is it to do with me? Do you think the Creator speaks to me and is not wise enough to be as much as wise as the man who speaks to me? And when I start imagining the future, right, tells you, man, don't keep yourself with this imagination. Sit and read your assignment. That's why I'm telling you this. Although what I'm saying is true, but it's not your concern. Now, your concern is not to sit and study now. Convince yourself that you have to do it. So, that's the way to read the Quran. Any other way, which keeps themselves busy with anything other than here and now, is irrelevant to the purpose of the speech of God to me. And it also goes against the nature of the speech as coming from an eternal knowledge, being eternal. Eternal means really not time-bound. Right? Don't contradict the definition of the Quran. I know it is difficult because it goes against the grain that we learn from the culture.
I feel like you've been saying this and it makes sense to me, and I want to be able to read the Quran in this way. And it's like I don't have a hesitation trying, but what I think is like my now is going to change, you know, in the future, and you want to be able to read this text in different ways, and there's this reluctance for me to just, you know, stop reading it any other way and just focus on the now because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that way, I feel like what you say, it's just like almost for me too limiting to just read it.
Limited?
In the now, yeah. And so I know this is something that's like an obstacle for me, and I can't see past it. I don't know.
You can see what?
I cannot see past.
In the future. Yeah, of course. Of course. Of course. That's what your Creator is speaking to you right now. Of course, it goes against your previous hearings. And you said, and everybody says this, when you hear somebody or when you read a book, they are concerned with the past and future and in physical terms. And what we are saying here, no, the Quran speaks to your human side, human qualities, and your concern right now. And you can read it. Thank God, I can read it, I feel very comfortable. And it is very relevant. It gives me, if you like, it provides me with a very secure existence. Really, I really feel secure in my existence. Absolutely. If someone says, you are going to die in a minute, I don't care at all. Why? That's not my business. That's my Creator's business. I have to take care of my business. Even I know that we know very famous hadith narrated, very famous. It is just narrated. This hadith is narrated for the sake of ecology. So even if there is the doomsday, the calamity, catastrophe is going to take tomorrow, the universe will collapse. Universe will collapse. You will die definitely. Earth will be exploded, something like that. Yeah. If you have a seed, sow it. Why? It's going to be destroyed. It's stupid to do that. But you know, it signifies the importance of green land. Oh, do you think I'm stupid? I'm a human being. It must mean something. It must mean something. That's what, that's how the prophets speak. You have to decipher them. Otherwise, you cannot understand the prophetic message. If you don't decipher them, you can't. You don't benefit. You don't benefit from the speech of your Creator. You cannot communicate with your Creator when you read the Quran. But the description of the Prophet says, if you want to speak to God, have a conversation with God, read the Quran. What does it mean? And I want to speak to God, so I'm reading the Quran. What are you doing? I'm speaking to God. But I'm not reading the Quran as if God is speaking to me right now. I'm reading the Mus'haf and historical text. So what does it mean? The Prophet is saying kindly to you. Look, when you read the Quran, you have to read it as if you are just, not as if really, but it really, you are speaking to God now. Now, not the other way around. Not if you want to speak to God, read the Quran means, when you read the Quran, what you are doing is nothing but speaking to God. Right now. Notice that. When you read it, it's very restricted, very real. Your God is speaking to you. You, as your human side, is addressing to your God right now. That's what the purpose of the Quran is for. So you can comfortably relate everything. There are some things, because of the influence of the history, narrated in the Quran, because history means we are under the influence of a heavy, very heavy culture. Why? I think that it is not the subject here, but it is relevant to our purpose of studying and coming here and really spending time here. It is very relevant that we have to talk about this. We have to admit that we are the children of our culture, which is, for most of us, Muslim culture. Even those of us who embraced Islam later on, or became the reality of the truthfulness of the Islam later on, they are under the influence of heavy, very heavy indoctrination of cultural background, because they think they are learning Islam. So we think that what we learned so far is the religious information. It is some information about religion. So if something we hear which goes against it, it is very difficult to unlearn all this and just become a really true conscious being, knowing what he's doing now, aware of it, not under the influence of baggages, culture. It is very difficult. The first thing always comes to our mind when we hear something, but what we heard, what we learned. Maybe a layman, maybe a professional man. Doesn't matter what the books say. If you really carefully study the books, they narrate from each other, they narrate from each other, they refer to each other. You know that. Yeah. So these are not bad, but we have to look for the right methodology. Right methodology. Whether we have a right methodology in studying hadith, in studying the Quran, in studying tafsir, whatever theology, whatever. Right, look for the right methodology. And not necessarily being an egoistic person, but trust yourself. That, look, I have to read the Quran not in order to speak with God, but this hadith is telling me I have to read the Quran being aware that this is a real conversation with my Creator. Yes, I'm speaking to my Creator right now. He's speaking to me, I'm speaking back to him. That's a real conversation taking place.
How are you speaking back exactly?
Sorry?
How are you speaking back exactly?
But you respond back. We studied this on a Wednesday. Your own responding back, reaction, confirming, rejecting, questioning, etc., is your speaking back to him. Because, be careful, every moment, if someone does not understand and really comprehend and digest that every moment is a new creation, cannot solve any problem. The gist, the core matter is this. You read something, you are created with hearing. Something happened in you, you are created with that response, communicating with God. That is created by whoever created you, but according to your choice. It means however you responded back was through your choice, not the Creator, through your choice. It's very simple. Everything is very simple. Only difficulty comes from the baggages we hear from culture. So the communication is, I'm telling you something, you hear, and what happens to you? You say, correct, wrong, this is true, it may relate to that. Doesn't it happen to you? That is your response back to me. But as a human being, I don't see what your response is in your own humanity, right? But the second moment is the creator of yourself in the second moment. Be careful. أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ. It's beautiful. Actually, be careful. This word, Allah knows, God knows, is a huge matter. Solves many problems. Because as the Quran makes it, the creation and knowledge together. Why? Your second moment existence is known by the one who created it. Right? It means he got the response from you. Do you understand? He got the response from you. And he's very aware that accordingly created you. So some substantial matters, I thought we studied this years ago on a series of instantaneous creation, understanding this. I don't know how many weeks we studied. Sorry.
It was like 15 or 16.
So yeah, 15, 16 weeks we studied. Why? It was the core of everything, foundation of everything. But of course, when you first hear it, it is something funny, something different, but you start interpreting it according to your previous knowledge. Most of the people read the Quran and Hadith and put it in the pot of previous cultural knowledge. Ah, he means this. For example, read is about a description of paradise or how the people will be happy in paradise. You say, the Quran, these verses are talking about the paradise in bracket. I learned from my previous culture, it is there. Do you understand? So you take this new knowledge, put it into the pot of your historical or your cultural background knowledge. So Quran takes the shape of your cultural background knowledge. Do you get it? So you think that you read the Quran new. No, you put it back into your background information. You didn't renew yourself. You just reminded yourself what you have learned before. It's not reading the Quran. What we are doing is the best and the most correct one. And when you read a verse, it tells about something in the past or in the future. What you do right now. To me. And new. Don't put these terms, for example, paradise. Yeah? Jannah. Yes? Jannah. The Quran says Jannah. خالدين فيها أبدا. They will remain there eternally. Yeah. What is Jannah? You know the Jannah? It means go back to your cultural background. No. No. It means you are not learning anything new. Because you got the concept, term, and definition of the term is your previous definition. Nothing new. It's very simple repetition of your culture, reinforcing your imitative culture, but a culture based on imitation. And the Quran keeps saying that do not imitate your ancestors. The problem with the Prophet was those people were not idiots. Those people were not obstinate. They could not make sense of the message they hear from the Prophet because it didn't make sense to them, because they never questioned their previous culture. That tribal honesty, tribal dignity is the most important thing. So what was the main, very simple meta? We are not going to discuss about this subject. It's stupid to discuss. Abu Talib not accepting the message, although he was sure that his nephew was an honest man. Muhammad was an honest man. He supported until the last moment of his breath Muhammad. He protected him. He was the chieftain of the tribe. And the value of the tribe is any tribesman must be protected. Whatever they are. We can fight within ourselves, but we have to protect their life. Because That is the tribal mentality. Yeah, America says that whoever you are, doesn't matter. As long as you are my citizen, I have to protect your rights. Isn't that so? Why? Because you are an American citizen. Exactly the same. So these people believed in God. Muhammad said, believe in God. Peace and blessings upon him. Times we mentioned. Yes? So, believe in God. Yes, we believe in God. Are we stupid? Of course we believe in God. That's what they claim. What are you talking about? Why don't you like us? And stop following the ancestor culture. By ancestor followed the tradition of Abraham, which believed in God. What is wrong with you? They said, no, you are wrong. This man must be crazy. You are protecting our tribes, man. And we are protecting our culture, inherited, and we believe in God. This man says you have to believe in God. Come on. You know, this man is in a troublemaker. He's nothing but a troublemaker. Let's get rid of him. They were not stupid. We're missing one point. They were not ready to question their cultural heritage. Whether it is really true or not. Whether it is true, sure. What Abu Talib said when he was in dead bed. Example. It's an example. The Prophet said, oh my uncle, I know you have a good intention. Say La ilaha illallah. Didn't say Muhammadur Rasulullah. It's very interesting. Say La ilaha illallah. But there was something new there. I'm not going to talk about it because it's a huge subject. And famous Abu Jahl, or the infamous Abu Jahl, is always, whatever has happened bad is Abu Jahl is there. Yeah? So Abu Jahl was present there. Okay? Whether it's true or not, whatever, doesn't matter really. But Abu Jahl's side of me is present always with me. So Abu Jahl said, are you going to reject your ancestors? Yeah, Abdul Muttalib, our honor. You are Abdul Muttalib's son and you are representing Abdul Muttalib right now. Because Abu Talib was the oldest. He was the chieftain of the Hashimis, whatever they call them, whatever the tribe, that tribe. He said, yeah, I am in this authority because of the honor of my father, Abdul Muttalib. So how can I reject him, huh? That was the reason why he couldn't say La ilaha illallah. If he didn't say, we don't know, but if he didn't say, there verbally didn't express it. But as the narration goes, doesn't matter whether it's a real narration or not. What it says, if you don't question and reject your heritage, refresh yourself, you will never ever be able to expose yourself to the teaching of the Quran, neither to the teaching of the Prophet. You will read a history and story. Be careful. Watch out. What are we going to do? We are not going to be enemies of the people. But, okay, let me understand what you really mean. Let me understand. You may narrate a history, etc. No, the truth. Because in my practical life, I read all this garbage, but try to find out the truth in it, what they are missing, and what is the truth in the narrations that I hear, right? In the argument. All this, classical scholarship, there is truth in them. So, right, like you read the hadith. If the hadith says something, then there is definitely truth in it. Find out that truth. If you look at any hadith narration on the surface, you cannot believe in it. You cannot. Don't pretend to have, the Prophet is talking about his Miraj. Yeah? Of course I believe in Miraj. Yes, of course I believe in Miraj. I don't deny Miraj. Only Kuffar deny Miraj. I don't. So he's telling about what happened to him in Miraj. When you read the Miraj, it looks like I don't know, Moliere's book or something. If you are reading an imaginary world.
Fantasy.
Sorry?
Fantasy.
Fantasy?
Fantasy.
Fantasy, yeah. Then making up the stories. Like I went there, I came back, Moses was there, Jesus was there. Where is it? Where are they? What is it to do with me? I don't know. Oh, of course it was a miracle. Yeah? What is it to do with you? Yeah? What is it to do with you right now? And what do? You think you are reading the hadith. You are not listening to the prophetic message. That's why you have to refresh your methodology of reading the scriptures, speaking to you about ghaib and to your humanity, not your physical world. That seems to be very simple. Yeah, understood now? Practice it. It takes decades to establish this. I don't know, maybe I am my mind is retarded and I don't really develop, I didn't really develop it well. It took me decades. Feel comfortable, not reject them, but refresh them. Make it your own practical life right now. What is it to do with me? And going back to this very simple example that, have you heard that it is going to, the universe is going to be destroyed tomorrow? No. Yeah? Do you have a seed in your hand or any shoot in your hand that you can plant? No. And what does Hadith is telling you right now? In your condition right now, I'm here in a room, there is nothing, I'm not a farmer. I have nothing to do with any of them. I've never heard and I've never seen any sign of doomsday and the last day catastrophe, anything. I'm not interested in eschatological narrations anyways. Yeah, I don't know. I'm living in this world. What is it to do with this hadith to you? Ask them right now. If you don't see the relevance of this hadith to you right now, I swear by God, you are not reading prophetic teaching. You are reading a story written by a famous literature man. Right? It is not the way of reading scripture. Of course, it goes against your culture. I'm sorry I have to tell that. No, but we have to repeat it maybe 1,000 times. If you have the intention, 1,000 times, if you have the intention, gradually, step by step, let me try this a little bit, although I'm not sure, and then go, I started feeling something. My reading of the scripture is changing a little bit. Yeah, my word is changing really. I'm getting rid of, getting out of the community life, which is costly. It costs a lot. Getting out of the community life, you feel what? Insecure. If something happens to me, I have no friend. Yeah, because I lost my community. Yeah, because you don't trust the community culture. Because primarily because the scripture itself says you have to leave the community culture behind. Establish a new community for yourself from scratch. Oh, how about my relatives? It doesn't mean that you are going to be nasty to your relatives. No, no, no. You cannot define your existence according to your relatives. Yeah? You cannot define yourself, your own existence, according to the existence of your father, mother, whatever, your job, whatever it is. Your existence is completely different from that. You are a person as you are, an individual. You have to gain the security from your source of existence. Your source of existence, according to biology, is your parents. According to scripture, scripture says me, not your parents. It doesn't mean, again, that you should really physically cut off yourself from all the people. No, not that at all. Existentially, you have to earn your freedom, independence. Existentially, you become free while you are with your parents, or they are not there, or they are with them. It is hard. I know it's very hard. Yeah. To believe in God is very easy unless we are brave enough to abandon the culture. Yeah. Of course, the traditionalists hate this idea. Sorry, sir. I am the traditionalist. I am very traditionalist. I am very Salafi. I love the Salaf, very early Salaf. They were very, even the companions. Think about Abdullah ibn Abbas, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. They were innovators in thinking how to understand the Quran. Right? Even the Prophet himself didn't explain the verses, the meanings of the verses, interpretations of the verses of the Quran, as Ibn Mas'ud did, as Ibn Abbas did. They were children during the life of the Prophet. Do you understand the importance of it? The Prophet encouraged them to think, to be how do you say, get into the matter, to be very precise in thinking. Faqih means this. Gets into the heart of the matter. Yeah, may Allah make you faqih in religion. We understand faqih means this, the person who memorizes or knows the rules. It's nothing to do with it. It means really knowing, getting into the heart of the matter. So they interpreted, Ibn Abbas, Ibn Mas'ud, the Quran, what is important, not how they interpreted it. The fact that they tried to interpret the Quran is the most important reality. Do you understand this? It means you have to interpret it. And it is encouraged by the Prophet. Although Prophet himself didn't do it as much as Ibn Mas'ud did it. Yeah? because the audience were not ready. Yeah. He was speaking to the audience according to their capacity. As the early generation started, established their life, started thinking about the content, the whole message of the scripture, they started interpreting. Do you understand? It means we have to follow this tradition. Not an arbitrary interpretation. You can do this, up to you, but it's your responsibility. But be careful. Try to understand the scripture speaking to you within your own conditions, within your own capacity, and of course learn, if you can, as much as you can, from the previous people who studied and tried. But ultimately, we have to come up with our own conclusions, not imitate. It must be so because Ibn Abbas said so. Does it make sense to you? Must be. Otherwise, I will go to hell. Yeah? How can I reject a companion? That is the bias culture that we have. Don't reject Ibn Abbas. Benefit from him as a teacher. Bring it, refresh it, update it to your own case. Apply it to your own case. You can do that. Now, you have a question. Did you give up? Did you give up?
No.
It was okay. Go ahead.
The question I had was, so you mentioned that to live, but take what you're reading in the Quran in your as of your now, currently. So there happens to be certain parts of the Quran that come up several times. So for instance, the story of Adam alayhi salam. So is my understanding and my lessons and my conversation, are they going to be the same? I guess they tend to be the similar conversations when those stories come up. Are they meant to be different? Are they meant to be the same? Or is that just a personal?
Do you think your life is static?
It's not static.
No. How many dimensions you have in your life?
I can count.
Uncountable. Huh? So every dimension, because the Quran never narrates except with one case, but it is also not really the narrating story itself. So especially in the case of Moses, in different contexts, a piece of the story of Moses comes in. In other contexts, a different story, the part of the story of Moses comes in. But who is Moses? I don't know. Moses is me within this context. Yeah. That when I use this language, it is very unconventional, inconventional. I confuse this with all this. So unconventional. When I use this, say, I don't know who Moses is. It is me. It means I'm rejecting everything. No, I have to read it with this in mind. I shouldn't really say that who was Moses. It's irrelevant to me. So I have to read the case within my own context. You will find a different case because you are undergoing, and I am undergoing, continuously renewed change in my existence. Even the universe changes. Yep. It's very cold today, and tomorrow it may be hot. Warm. Change. So today you may have one concern, and 1 minute later you may receive a call. What you do? You start panicking. Why? There is a new event. or you get joyful, whatever. So we are undergoing the change continuously. So every moment that we read anything from or of the story of Moses, I have to just relate this part to my life right now as I am. You will see the relevance of it. But if you read the scripture as a source of information, for example, building up, what some people do, get all the pieces here and there from the Quran, collect all the information together, and make a story of Moses in the Quran. Because they are all there. Oh, you say, okay, now, I know what happened. I will learn what happened to the prophet Moses. So I will learn this man. It means you are contradicting the definition of the Quran, because he's not telling the story in its entirety. There's a point. There, you are missing it. Those people who write the story of the prophets, there are books, famous books. Yeah, the story of the prophets. You must have read it, or you must have heard about it. They all contradict the nature of the speech of God's speech. God never tells a story about Moses. Pieces. One piece is related to your case within this context. If you combine them, you contradict the purpose of the Quran. So never read any story, prophetic story. It is just misleading. It is irrelevant to your reality. It's just misleading. Because it contradicts the method employed in the Quran. Even if you read, but be careful here. Be careful. If you read the Sirah books, reading the life story of the Prophet, sometimes you may feel so sorry for him. He was stoned by stupid people in Taif. He didn't have any protector. He wasn't. So what? What is it to do with you? He was poor, okay. He didn't have any protection, okay. And why do you cry? A man, a person, the prophet, whatever, lived 1400 years ago, yeah, and he was poor. He didn't have any protection. What is it to do with him? You have to relate it to yourself. So don't isolate the life of the prophet from your own life story. If you don't go to Mount Hira, if you don't seclude yourself from the set culture, if you don't get rid of this heritage, go to the Mount Hira and start thinking of your own reality. Who am I? You will never receive the message. With no questioning, no answer. You may think that you are reading the answer. If you don't have the question, it is not an answer for you. It doesn't mean anything to you. It will never mean anything to you. But what you will learn information. You will be able to give a good khutbah and good speech to the Muslim community. You know what happened to the Prophet? Everybody listens to you with open mouth. Like, yeah. Why, the poor guy. No one supported him. No relevance to your reality. What are we going to do? Read the Quran or any narration from Prophet, not necessarily in the form of a story. Just every bit and piece related to your reality right now. Otherwise, you won't be reading or exposing your humanity to revelation, God's guidance, your Creator's speech to you. Very simple. Right? So, you are not after the story. That's why we think that the Quran is repeating. And of course, many people strongly, earnestly defended that the Quran never repeats anything. It's not a repetition. In a new context, a new message to be applied to your new life every moment, because you cannot live 2 moments once. Every moment is different. We are changing. We are experiencing new things. So related to you as much as possible. I know it is difficult. It is hard. You may fail. You understand that we are preschool students in learning the revelation. Even you get a degree from LSR. We are preschool, not school, preschool students in exposing ourselves to the revelation. I can bet we have never gone through this experience. We have to start from scratch. Yes, sir, we have a few minutes left. Sorry, your question.
I give up.
So, I'm not going to accuse you, don't want. Yeah, feel free, man.
Okay, we're in pre-K. Sorry.
Yep. I don't want to force, but feel free. If you want to share, please go ahead.
Just a couple of thoughts that came to mind when you were saying, it was just interesting I never heard it that way before, maybe, because what you're saying is like you always have, well, I guess what you're saying is not that you always have to reject what the previous generations or your parents or whatever have done or said, but you have to investigate, you have to question it so that you can reach a conclusion whether you agree with it or not.
One correction, I don't say reject, I say put aside. You may find some benefitful material in it. Rejection is different from putting aside. You stay there, okay, all right, let me see what I get from it. So if there is something, some useful element in it, you say, this may mean this for me. Use it. That's why I always use this word, put aside. Okay, carry on.
Okay, so that was one point. So I don't think this whole question about whether you're traditionalist or not, I mean, I think it's just a play on words. Like, you can be a traditionalist and still have your own independent view on things, or you can be a traditionalist who only listens to what other people said before. So.
There are many people who call themselves progressives. And their rhetoric, when you hear them, what they do, they don't follow Islamic heritage. They follow modern heritage, nothing more.
Yeah. So
Essentially nothing
it's not
different,
their own
really.
right.
But I'm not believing the people who call themselves, liberalist or, I don't know, progressive people. No, the methodology. They may have lots of truth in them. Well, we have to admit everybody has some truth in their claim. Yeah.
Okay, and the second point came when you were talking about the Prophet's seerah and how if I don't relate him going to Ta'if, for example, of being stoned or him being poor, I completely agree. But sometimes I wish, I mean, that's just a general comment, that you would, I mean, I know that you're leaving this up to us, and I know you always mention it because it's your own conclusion, how you view things, and you don't want to just give it to us. But I always hope that when you say things like that, then you give us maybe a little bit of a hint about how alternatively you thought about it, because that's very difficult. Like, so for example, but I think I'm learning a little bit. Like, for example, when you're saying that he was stoned by Ta'if, then he was stoned because he was standing against the common culture at the time, which will happen to me if I were to stand against what my parents might say or what. Is that the kind of relevance to your life right now that you're talking about?
Ask yourself. Ask
I don't
yourself.
know because I don't know if that's going too far or is it like what you were...
Yeah. Have you ever felt that you had to move into another setting because you are rejected by the civilization you are living in? Changing your setting, changing your lifestyle completely. As we said, if you have never been to Mount Hira in the cave, you will never receive the revelation. What does it mean? We said simple. If you haven't questioned your reality, you will never understand the Quran. Questioning comes first. Answers don't make sense if there was no question. Right? This rhetoric is this. Quran is the answer. Yeah, absolutely. I've heard this rhetoric. I said, oh, it is excellent. But the man who is propagating and promoting this rhetoric, Quran is the answer. Quran is the answer. He's saying that for the civilization is corrupt civilization, they have to take the Quran. We have already taken it. Do you have a question himself? No. It's not an answer for you. Come on, don't make me laugh. It's not an answer for you. How can you sell the answer to others who never ever question? You yourself have not questioned that. You don't have to question. So, although, look, the rhetoric is beautiful. Quran is the answer. What you have to do now, you and me? Do I have to question? Quran is the answer, huh? Do I have the question? And look for the answer in the Quran and see whether it is really providing you with the answer to your question. What is the question you have? Your human question, huh? Not the question that you have that, oh, I need a promotion in my job. Existential questions, human questions, which mostly we are not aware of. We don't have it. Because most of the time, although it looks repetitive, what we keep saying, most of the time we talk here doesn't really register simply because we don't have the problem. So let's say there is a medicine here in a tube. It's very effective, very effective. If you don't see or understand, realize that you have the disease, the reality that this medicine is very effective doesn't affect you, because you don't realize that you are ill. So if we don't have the question, it's the most perfect formula, let's say, as an answer to something. Doesn't mean anything to you, because it doesn't mean anything, because it's not related to you. You don't feel the relation. Because you don't have the question. It's so simple. So the more we really turn to ourselves and question, the more we do that, the more we appreciate the effectiveness, beauty of the answer. So Quran is the answer correct for those people who have the question. Right? That's my practical example. So read everything like that. Of course, you cannot get the result in 1 day or 1 year. You cannot be satisfied in every step. Of course, you have to progress gradually. We have to learn gradually, but that is the path we have to follow. And last word, we have to be consistent. Doing 1 day questioning, the second day forgetting the one doesn't work, doesn't register. We have to be consistent. That is my path. That's how I am going to do. And this is my word. I have to go to work. I have to take care of my family, whatever. But these are my physical responsibilities. But what is the most important thing is, in my understanding, in my feeling, the questions must be alive. While I'm working, still the questions must be alive in my mind. So if you get the answer, if you get one answer to your question, real question, not made up question. When did Battle of Uhud take place? That's a question, huh? What do you think? Do you know the date? Battle of Uhud? Oh, you are not a good Muslim. So you are new, don't worry. So we can excuse you. So when did Battle of the Uhud take place?
Yesterday.
So this is not the question we are talking about. Am I having a battle in my world? Am I in the battlefield? Yeah. In my world, in my personal world right now, then why do you read the story about the battle of Uhud? It's not related to you. Why do you waste your time? So be careful. If you don't have the right methodology, your concern with religion is nothing but either waste of time or reinforcing your prejudice about your culture. Confirming it, and then you become a strong believer in Islam as our religion, man. I have no doubt. I believe in whatever the Quran says. Yeah. But I don't know what it says. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Inshallah next week we will read and study that. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin bi hurmati sirri surati. Inshallah it's quick.